Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Wayne State University and our Money Matters presentation tonight, specifically covering financial aid and billing and our support resources should you need them. My name is Katie Rawlings. I'm the Associate Director of New Student Orientation. I'm joined by my colleague, Zach Krug, in the orientation office as well. He's our orientation coordinator. We will be your moderators, facilitators, MCs tonight. I do want to let you know that this presentation is being recorded. We know that a lot of folks have lost power today and overnight, and so we want to be mindful of those who wanted to join us and were not able to. And for those, if you would like to watch this another time through, then we would like to make sure we give you that opportunity. So we won't be taking any personal questions right at the beginning or throughout the presentation. But if you do have questions, after the conclusion of the presentation, we will stop the recording so you can ask those questions and feel more comfortable asking those questions. And we also want to just keep the questions to more broad general information. We do not want you to share you or your family's personal financial information, numbers, anything like that over this presentation, but we do want to be able to answer your questions, and hopefully we'll do a lot of that through the presentation. But in case you have things that you would like us to cover again, repeat, we are happy to do that at the end of that presentation. So jot notes down as you go. We will have our presenters and myself and Zach, who are also in the chat. So feel free to use the chat function when you feel like you want to ask a question that has a more immediate need of being answered. So again, welcome. My name is Katie Rawlings with the Orientation Office. I'm joined by Zach Krug, also with the Orientation Office, and we are joined by our partners in the Student Service Center, the Office of Student Financial Aid, and Student Accounts Receivable. And you're going to learn about all the different functions of those offices and how we support you and your student through this process at Wayne State. And so we are going to do some general, like I said, department overviews of those three offices, and then we'll have some time at the end for questions. And Ahmed will cover a lot of this with the Student Service Center, but if you have questions after this presentation tonight, we are here available to answer those questions for you tomorrow. So I will turn it over to Zach then to get started and kick us off.
Great. Thank you so much, Katie. And thanks everybody for being here. I echo everything that Katie just said. We're so appreciative of you taking some time out of your day, your evening to join us to learn a little bit more about how money helps you and your student here at Wayne State University. So we're going to jump right into our presentations tonight. And I would like to welcome Ahmed, who is one of the Student Service Center employees, and he'll just explain a little bit more about the Student Service Center and how they can help you throughout your time and your students' time at Wayne State.
Thank you, Zach and Katie, for the introduction. It is my honor and privilege to represent the Student Service Center. The Student Service Center is the outward-facing entity of the Welcome Center, where all our offices are housed. Our office and staff at the SSC, which we kind of abbreviate to, provide first-level support to students for the following offices and services, which include undergraduate admissions, records and registration, Office of Student Financial Aid. Until most recently, we did provide support for the student account receivable. Although they've kind of ventured off and are their own entity, we still provide a lot of support for that office as well. One of the things I want to highlight about the Welcome Center is that students should visit the Welcome Center early and often. We are open Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. We always encourage students to beat the rush, meaning that we want you to get in contact with us earlier than later. And so that way we can kind of ease you into the semester. By no means, if you call during our rush time, which is just really right before the semester, you'll still get the help that you need. It's just that we would like to have you start your semester and your student semester kind of worry-free as possible so they can kind of concentrate on class. And I'll go over that in the next following slides about the Beat to Rush campaign in particular. But you'll see, like I said, the Welcome Center is the first stop pretty much every semester that you want your students to kind of be directed towards, and ask follow-up questions for that. So the student experience, there's a couple ways that you can contact the Student Service Center. One is by our phone system, which is probably one of our most popular. The number is up there at 313-577-2100. When the student calls in, they'll actually be able to select what office they're trying to get a hold of: undergraduate admissions, financial aid, records and registration. And essentially, they'll be directed towards those offices and those staff members. More likely than not, your first contact will be an enrollment specialist, who are expert specialists in all those areas I've just mentioned. They can answer probably 95% of the questions. And then if there is more in-depth information that is needed, we will tag team our fellow office staff members to kind of do a little bit more in-depth dive. But there is a new caller experience, which we're really excited about. One of the things is our callback feature. So we didn't have this previously. This has been a game changer for us. So when a student or parent or anyone calls into this number, after 6 minutes on hold, they're going to be able to select a callback option. It's similar to what you get if you call into, for example, DTE or Comcast or any kind of major corporation where you can have that callback feature. We implemented this earlier this year. It has dramatically changed the way we do customer service, and it has been overall a very, very positive experience. And we really encourage you, if you do call in, to do that callback feature. Not that saying that you can't on hold, but we want to give you your time back. So a lot of students are able to maybe do other work, get some coffee, maybe watch a little Netflix and kind of relax, and not just wait on hold for one of us to get to them. Right now, our timing is getting up there, but right now it's about a 0 to 15-minute wait. As we get closer to the start of the semester, those times may increase just a little bit. And with our emails, it's usually the day before or the same day emailing back with students' questions. So we have our enrollment specialists as well as some of our student service staff help with those endeavors. And again, just most students select the option to hold their place in line. Again, has been a game changer for our office and the way we interact with students. So one of the things we always like to do is put a name to a face. Obviously, I'm in the top right corner there. In the bottom right, we have our whole team there, kind of throwing up the W sign for Warriors and Wayne State, kind of a double conundrum. And a lot of times when you come into the Welcome Center, again, the first level support, you'll probably meet one of us. We also have student leaders who are work study students who are tremendous in everything that they do. It's great to have the student work study students because when they are intaking your student or other visitors to Wayne State in the Welcome Center, they're able to give you the student perspective. Although we really pride ourselves in knowing everything about Wayne State and kind of the ins and outs about how things run, we'll really never know how it is for a student. And to have the student leaders with us to kind of explain that student perspective is invaluable. Like I said, it's so valuable. And we really, like I said, you'll more likely than not, that's the first people that you'll see. They'll be greeting you as you walk in to the Welcome Center. They also do a lot of outreach. So you or your student may have gotten a call from them to kind of remind them of documentation, doing wellness checks, reminding them of programs, and so on and so forth. And we'll be soon giving out calls for orientation 2, which again, your student will be attending as well. And again, just kind of go a little bit deeper dive in the first stop philosophy. We kind of go over, that was a really big transition for our university to kind of put as many things into one space as possible. That's why all our offices that I've mentioned previously are in that space. A lot of the things that you're gonna need as far as your first stop in the Welcome Center are gonna be handled on the first floor. We're excited that student account receivable is going to have representation on the first floor. As in the years past, you would have to go up into the 4th floor to kind of get to them. Now all that's going to be on the first floor. So when a student walks in, if they need help with financial aid, they'll be on the first floor. If they need help with an enrollment specialist, they'll also be on the first floor. And now student account receivable will also be on the first floor. Enrollment specialists enrollment management specialists, I should say, are cross-trained, again, in all the offices that are all at the Welcome Center. I cannot highlight how crucial and impactful the enrollment management specialists are. The least amount of experience that we have there is about 7 years. We've had people that have 10 years plus at the Welcome Center, which is absolutely amazing. And for that kind of years of experience, you can't even buy that. We are very fortunate and very lucky to have them. And so a lot of times when your student is coming into a Welcome Center, they're getting so many years of experience dealing with all 4 offices and all 4 entities that are listed there on the screen. And so what can you expect when contacting the SSC? Again, you more likely than not will be talking to our specialists. They're the first people to answer those phones, to meet students as they walk in, and to email students back. Specialists attempt to answer questions and solve the problems right then and there. And again, if they need to escalate those cases, we will tap our friends in the Office of Student Financial Aid, Student Account Receivable, and Admissions and Record Registration. What's special about that is that if we can answer those questions pretty quickly, we can leave the cases that need a little deeper dive and a little bit more research to our other offices, that they can give that special time and consideration for those very kind of in-depth cases that maybe need a little bit TLC. So it is a very good system that we can always kind of move it up if necessary, but a lot of times, again, we can answer those questions at the first level. Everything is tracked. So when you call in, those phone calls are tracked. When you email, those emails are tracked in our system. And then also when you walk in, for a lot of times people may not understand that, but we actually track that as well. So we create cases in our management system. And so all 3 ways are tracked. So at any time you have any questions about maybe where your case is or where your question is, you can just give us a call and we'll be able to answer and tell you exactly what process or where in the process your question or request is at. And I think lastly, before we move on to financial aid, I just want to mention the Beat the Rush campaign. This is the best time. I'm so glad that you're all here and so happy that you're doing this, early August. Again, I would highly advise that you call us now. And I just wanted to kind of speak for my colleagues on this call. The reason that we're all here and employed at Wayne State is that we're here to help your students. That is our #1 job, and really our only job, is to help guide your students through their Wayne State Warrior experience. So there's never a time where you're calling us or emailing us or contacting us that puts us that's annoying or that gets us out of our rhythm or anything like that. We're literally, our sole purpose here is to help your students. So I just want to really encourage to ask those questions. And even if you have to ask them multiple times, please feel free to reach out to us at any time. Again, we're open all year long. And with that being said, I know there's a lot of information. I'll be looking in the chat, but I will hand it off to Christine to go over the Office of Student Financial Aid. Thank you for having me.
Hello, yes. My name is Christine Powell. I'm a financial aid officer with the Office of Student Financial Aid, and we'll go ahead and get started here. So by now, it is August, and so your student should have already filled out their FAFSA or their free application for federal student aid, the 21-22 academic year. They should have made any necessary corrections to that FAFSA if by chance you had made a mistake, because those do happen. You would have received an award letter from us already at this point, and you can review any updates through Academica, any financial aid updates, or as Aman was saying, any SAR updates and whatnot, but all of that can be found on Academica. And also on Academica, you should be able to see if you have any requirements or any extra documentation that's needed from our office. Although that should have happened, if it has not happened, it is not too late. Okay, you can file a FAFSA now, so please do so. You can still complete the FAFSA. You need to make sure that the Wayne State school code is added. You can also search Wayne State University on the FAFSA. Then you would want to check Academica for your award status or any other requirements needed. And make sure that anything that's listed, you get to us as soon as possible, because the sooner the better to beat that rush. And just to give you an idea of what the Academica looks like or where to go, you would go under student resources, and then there's a link that says financial aid. After financial aid, you would see a financial aid portal. And then you can click through the tabs. You can see the award offer. You can see any notifications that we would be sending out to give updates or additional requirements. And then, as you can see there, student requirements would be listed in case your student needs to turn in any other documentation to our office. And this is how you would contact us: the Student Service Center, the phone number that was given previously, this email address. For general financial aid questions or questions regarding scholarships, we do have those as well. You can take a look at the website and have most of your questions answered, but please feel free to reach out to our office anytime you need any assistance. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Christine, for that great overview of financial aid and where students should be at in the process and what they can expect to look for here in the near future. At this point, we are going to turn it over to Sharif, and Sharif is one of our employees who has worked both in financial aid and in our Students Accounts Receivable office. So we'd like to welcome Sharif to go over our billing portion.
Thanks, Zach. Appreciate it. And welcome everybody tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. We work, the Student Accounts Receivable office, the Bursar's office, we work with the Student Service Center, and we work with financial aid to make everything as efficient as possible for you. And if you do have any questions after the presentation, we understand, make sure to save for the Q&A. We'll be able to get to all your questions in a timely fashion. It looks like we have here the phone number and email address. And why we have it a little bit separate is we understand that billing can be a rather intensive discussion sometimes. So we want to bypass the Student Service Center. We still work with them, but we also have a way you can contact us directly. So if you have any questions about billing, refunds, anything along those lines, please be sure to go ahead and give us a call directly or email bursar@wayne.edu. And what do we handle? We handle billing inquiries, collections, we oversee refunds, and third-party tuition sponsorships. And what that means is if you have a trust or a savings plan, or you get a discount because you work with Ford or Verizon, that would still be processed through our department. So just make sure to send those inquiries directly to us so we can get you what you need as quickly as possible. FERPA, this is one of the most important things, because you're going to have a question that you want to ask us directly. In order for you to be able to do that without the student being on the phone or them sending the inquiry directly to us, you need to fill out a FERPA form, or rather the student will need to fill it out. It's an easy way to do it. You can have them log into their Academica, type in the search bar FERPA, and they'll find it and they can complete it right online. Give it about 48 hours for it to hit the account, and then give us a call. We'll be able to assist you. So be sure to, if you do have any questions, you still can email us. But what we do encourage you to do is, if you have the FERPA already completed, that'd be great. Or have the student forward the email on your behalf, and that way we can get back to the student. You can have them forward it that way as well. E-bill, this is an important one. So you'll see two things in Academica when you log in. You're going to see the billing account summary, and you're going to see the e-bill statement and payment history. Now, the e-bill statement and payment history, it has everything you need. The billing account summary is more of a snapshot. It just shows the bill itself without showing the awards, the grants, or the scholarships. And since we're paperless, you can only access it online. So you want to sit down with the student and log into their Academica. Sit down together and type in e-bill. When you do that, you're going to see a PDF pop up, and you're going to see not only the charges, you're going to see the awards, scholarship. So you'll see the deduction of that, and then you'll see the amount that you owe, which is your real question. You want to know what you owe. And you're going to find that on the e-bill statement. Due dates. So we do give you a grace period. You probably have noticed there that in 2 days, or a few days rather, everything is due. Don't worry, we give you a grace period. So for the first month, you don't have to worry about being assessed any late fees or anything along those lines. Late fees technically aren't assessed until September 16th. What that means for you is you want to make sure to pay the bill or have an installment plan set up so that by the 15th, you're not going to be responsible for any late fees. And as long as it's paid by the 15th or enrolled in the plan by 8 p.m. on the 15th, you're good. You can avoid any late fees along those lines. Payments, there's a lot of ways to pay us. I did mention the installment plan, we'll get to that in a second, but you can pay with a parent PIN. Basically, the student would go into the Academica, they type in parent PIN, everything's in Academica, and they would give you access that way. You would only be able to pay. You will not actually be able to see how much the student knows. You'd have to sit down with them and get the e-bill or have them forward the e-bill to you in the PDF format. That way you can see. But that's a form that you can pay using the parent PIN. Or you can have the student log in and do the ACH or electronic check method. And that doesn't cost you anything. You'll notice that there's a convenience fee of $2.99 if you use a credit card. So we strongly encourage you to use your checking account, the ACH method. That way you don't incur any additional fees while paying the balance. Also, we still do accept checks by mail, and just go ahead and make a note of that PO box. So if you want to send a money order or a cashier's check, only thing we ask is make sure you put the access ID or student ID number on there. That way it gets allocated to the right student. Installment plan. So here's good news. Let's say you can't pay everything up front. We can cut it and marginalize it, amortize the bill that you owe. So not the entire bill, but just the amount that you owe by going to wayne.afford.com, and you can sign up for an installment plan that will spread it out over about 4 months. You can manage something effectively for you that way. And there is a $40 enrollment fee. That's not a late fee. That's just an enrollment fee so that you can get the installment plan, and you won't incur any other fees as long as you make your installments on time. And it's usually by the 15th by 5 p.m. So these are the third party. You know how we talked about sponsorships in the beginning. These are your third party sponsors. The Michigan Education Trust. It's super easy with MET. All you have to do is contact them and let them know you're attending Wayne State University bi-weekly. They send us reports of all students that are enrolled or that have an MET plan that are also enrolled with us. So we'll have all the information. All you have to do it is once. So contact MET and just add Wayne State University. As far as the MESP, those would be your savings accounts, tax deferred savings accounts. So it doesn't have to necessarily be Michigan or MESP. You could have an MESP or a tax deferred account from another state, and it really doesn't matter. You would just have them send the check to the PO box listed there, the same one that you would send your checks to, or a lot of them are doing what are called ACH or wires. So it's a little bit easier for them and it gets here faster. That way you don't have to worry about incurring any additional fees. So if you do use a tax deferred account, have them send a wire. Just make sure to include the student ID. Refunds, all the good news. So refunds are actually a pretty simple process. In order to expedite it rather than have it mailed out to you, we have a convenient way in Academica where you can sign up for a direct deposit. So log in with the student and have them put in their bank account information. As soon as a refund or an excess amount of their aid is on their account, we'll send it right to the student's bank account. And it's a quick and efficient process. It doesn't cost you anything. You just have to make sure to sign up. It takes about 2 to 4 days to get a refund when it's to your bank account. And it takes about 7 to 9 business days, maybe a little bit longer given the pandemic, the paper check. So best option, definitely sign up. Now I kick it back to you, Zach.
Thank you so much, Sharif, for that great overview of student accounts receivable here at Wayne State.